Well, good morning from Santiago Airport. So I am on my way to Easter Island, known by the people that live there as Rapa Nui. And this is one of the most remote inhabited islands in the world. I'm in Santiago, Chile. It is a part of Chile, and so we're flying on this flight here. It's gonna be 5 hours through the ocean, almost completely west, to this very remote island in the Pacific Ocean, known for their Moai. Those are those tall statues that everyone has seen before. There's even an emoji for the Moai. Very famous UNESCO World Heritage Site built by the people that lived at that island. And so I'm very, very excited to be going there. And it's just a really interesting place, this Easter Island. The reason it's called Easter Island is it was discovered on Easter Day, okay? So we're getting on that flight, about 5 hours, and we're heading to one of the most remote islands in the world. Very excited to take you along with me on this adventure here. Well, greetings from Easter Island, from Rapa Nui. So you can see my beautiful lei I have on. So this is made with some different plants and different flowers from a garden here. Absolutely beautiful. This is a traditional way in Polynesian culture to welcome someone with a lei like this. And so I'm here at my hotel. We just got in about 5 minutes ago. It was maybe a 2-minute drive from the airport to this hotel, which is in the center of the main town. But let me take you on a little room tour. I'll give you a little tour of this hotel I found, kind of a mid-range hotel, maybe $100 a night, which is a decent price here in Easter Island where things are pretty typically more expensive. So let me take you and show you the room, what a hotel looks like here in Easter Island. So come in, you see we've got the double beds here and just a beautiful open room with some nice artwork. We can see the Moai up here. We'll be seeing a lot more of them. But this is the room, the Ofalanyi. I don't know how to pronounce some of those words there. But this is the bathroom here. And you can say hello. And yeah, pretty simple place, not a bad price here in Easter Island. Oh, and a welcome drink.
De mango.
De mango, gracias. And we have a welcome drink of mango here. So let's give it a try. Fresh. There's actually mangoes growing in the garden out here on our way in. There's a big mango tree, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's where they are from, because this is super fresh. Delicious. So I've had a little bit of a moment to walk around Rapa Nui here, the downtown, and give you a little bit of feedback. But the first thing you're gonna see here, these are the Moai. This is what you come here for, these statues. But these are the statues that surround the island. And so these are the Moai. They are a spiritual statue. They represent the connection between the spiritual world and the real world. So they can communicate with ancestors and gain power through those Moai who protect the island. So the Moai surround the island and they look inwards to where the people are living to give them strength, protection, power. So it's very interesting, and we're gonna learn a lot more about them. But it's been cool walking around here for the past few hours. It's got a very Chilean vibe. You of course know your Rapa Nui, a lot of that sort of Pacific Island culture, but also with a real Chilean vibe. There are many times where you're just like, yeah, this is like, I feel like I'm in Santiago here. So it's really interesting, but it's a very small town. But yeah, definitely a strong Chilean influence, but also kind of its own identity as well. You've kind of got a mix of both of that, which is really cool and interesting here on Rapa Nui. Now we have reached my guide's home. So we have Delphine, she's French from French Polynesia and has moved here to Rapa Nui, lived at the place about 11 years now. And so she's showing us her home. We're gonna be having dinner there, but it's in a really beautiful spot. Really at like the edge of the island here. Ocean just back there. And this is kind of her yard. And you can see she's got horses here, and that's her house in the distance. So give you some insight into what a traditional Rapa Nui home looks like. Hi.
This is the door.
Oh, we come through here through the door. Okay.
For the horses, you know, they come and they.
So the horses don't get in. Oh, there we go.
Voilà.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, hola. Wow, this is beautiful. They have an amazing home. So I'll give you a brief tour of the home. Really trying to keep it one with nature, which is a really interesting concept here. So one thing you'll notice is it's just like built into the land. So the floor is just the stones themselves of the hill moving up. And so this is the sitting area here. This is the kitchen. It's all made out of recycled wood. And so it's just really built to connect with its environment, and it's very beautiful. And if we come outside, you can see the deck. This is where we're going to be having dinner tonight. Really beautiful spot. Just an amazing view here. The ocean back there. And then finally, we've got a fireplace here, fire pit. And we'll be lighting a fire here to end the evening. Beautiful start to our first day here in Rapa Nui. Really amazing. Love being out here. Love sort of this like connection with nature. The ecotourism that is here is really incredible. Well, good morning from Rapa Nui. It is a beautiful sunny day. It was cloudier this morning, but the sun has come out and it's really beautiful. You can see the ocean behind me. And so we're now officially within the kind of park here. And so you have to pay to get into these parks. You pay a ticket. It's good for about 10 days. And that costs $80 for a foreigner. And that goes towards the upkeep of the parks and all things like that. And so the previous place I was yesterday, I think there are Moai there, but it was not like officially a park. Whereas this, you have to show your ticket to get in, and you have to have that ticket with you at all times because they definitely come around and check. And so absolutely beautiful. So what's really cool is there's an airport right behind me, and there's actually an airplane coming in off in the distance. I'm just seeing it. You can see it coming here. It's probably around the time that it's the LATAM flight. So LATAM flies here, I think it's peak season right now, so they fly here almost every single day. But when we get to the lower season, maybe they don't do that every single day. But we can see the flight coming in on the distance. So this is like a 3-mile runway, and actually the reason they built it was for the Challenger shuttle, to have a place to land if it ever got off course and came down here in the South Pacific. So we got the plane. So that was wild. They just aborted their landing there for whatever reason. Decided not to land. I don't know if the runway was blocked or they got some instruction, but we're right at the edge of the runway. So the flights would come here and they'd come down. And yeah, this runway is 3 miles long, so it's massive. So that was a Dreamliner just coming in. I believe I saw it 787 on the side. And so, yeah, it's crazy. These big planes can land here. Typically, you know, on small islands like this, they're gonna have a small airport. Maybe only a 737 can make it. So they can have big planes come out here, which is really cool. But yeah, it was from the Challenger. So the US government actually paid for this runway so that they could have a really, really long runway here and land in the event that the Challenger shuttle needed a place to land. As it's coming back from outer space, maybe it blows off course and needs to find a place down here. And so I can't imagine a Challenger shuttle coming down here to land. It's like these people from outer space coming to the island. It lends credence to the myths that aliens came here to actually build these statues. And so imagine people from space come down here and then they say, you people, you need to build more Moai. I couldn't imagine, but maybe that's the truth of the theory of why these things are built. Outer space involvement definitely is some pretense there with that runway. But we're going over. We're gonna check out some of these Moai statues just over here. Another really interesting place behind me. So these are called the ahus. These are like the base where they would put the Moai on, and this one right behind me. And what's really interesting about this one is there's like a keystone in the middle. You can see it here. And so that unique design of having like these big stones and then that small stone in the middle, that is something that is only seen in Machu Picchu in other Incan architecture, so from Peru. And so they believe that people from Peru came here and integrated with the Polynesian culture and brought different ideas, different building techniques, and clearly you can see it in these rocks, and they've even had some DNA tests that prove out a connection between the South American continent and the Rapa Nui people here. So they believe that originally they came from Polynesia, from the Marquesa Islands. That's how these lands were populated. But they believe there was contact with South America influencing the culture. Another thing they have, which we'll see a bit more later, is their writing system. And so they have a writing system here that's very unique. Polynesian culture never had writing. And, but of course they had writing on the South American continent. And so that mixing of culture is what they believe created a writing system here. They can't decipher the writing system, that's been lost to time, but they do have a writing system here on their tablets with that writing. So it's very interesting to see that kind of South American connection with the people here and the Polynesian culture. And just crazy to think we're so far away from everything. We've had to come here by boat, barely knew where they were going, and managed to travel thousands of miles across the ocean to make it. Very, very brave, adventurous people to come here. I am on the volcano now, really close to the town. We're overlooking the city below. So let's have a look. You can see all of the city here. This is where most of the people live in Rapa Nui, in this little village here. And you can even see the airport down there. And we've got the airplane down there, the flight that just came in, and they're getting people and ready to head back to Santiago, Chile. But really beautiful view of the entire island here. So there's kind of a volcano on this section. There's more volcanoes out there, other parts of the island, but there's a big like volcanic mountain right by the city. And it just drops down into there, and then that's where the airport is with the 3-mile runway for the Challenger shuttle to land at. It's extremely massive, but very cool. So if you continue up around the volcano, you can come to this place where they had the Birdman competition. And so there's an island out here behind me. And what would happen is, after they abandoned the Moai culture, the Rapa Nui would come here and they started ruling the island by who was the Birdman. And the Birdman was essentially a man who would swim out to this island. Every year, these migratory birds would come to that island, and he would have to swim out there and be the first to get an egg and bring it back. And then that allowed that person to be the ruler of the island. And so that was the cult of the Birdman, sort of the next phase in the political history of this island after the Moai. But behind me here are the homes where the people would stay while they were waiting for the Birdman competition. And so what actually would happen is there would be like, you know, prominent politicians who actually wanted to rule the island, but they themselves didn't go out there to that island. They got someone to do it for them, kind of like how politicians do today anyways. And so they would stay in these homes while they waited for their guy to go out there. And the guy might live out there on that island for a few weeks while he's waiting to get the egg, because it hasn't been laid yet and you want to be there to be the first one to get it. But it's about a mile away, and it doesn't look so far from here, but it looks like a treacherous swim. And so it's a very interesting competition. But the craziest thing is, like, how did they, okay, swimming there is one thing, but swimming back with the egg sounds very, very challenging. And so they would like put it to their head somehow and then swim back, and not only swim back, but climb up these cliffs and climb up the cliffs there. And, you know, imagine the water smashing against the walls. Really challenging competition. But once they did that, they were able to rule the island for a year, or their politician was able to. But it's very windy up here. There are a lot of dogs here in Rapa Nui. Some are, some belong to people and some don't, but the ones that don't are like surprisingly good looking, like really clean coats of fur, really well fed. They just roam freely, so people must be feeding them. But yeah, there are a lot of just stray healthy dogs on this island. It's very interesting. Now I'm a little bit north of where I just was, and I'm going down here in this cave. See this hole? I'm kind of terrified, but I hear it's not that bad, so come with me down in the cave. Ooh, let's see. Apparently you're supposed to go backwards. Oh, we need the light. That would help, yeah. Okay. I can use my phone.
Oh, okay.
We'll use my phone here.
And what's your hair? Oh, I gotta change glasses.
So we come back here.
Yes, we can leave it
In the cave. And we've reached the end of the tunnel. It goes right out into the ocean. Welcome back from my third day here on Easter Island, and I'm at a really interesting place. You can see, beautiful day today. My normal camera is out of battery, so I'm working off my phone, but I'm at the quarry where they got the Moai, and it looks like an abandoned Moai plantation. Like, there are Moai all around here. Over here, there's tons of them, just abandoned on this hillside. Many like half constructed, even up in the rock. There are Moai up here that are still, haven't been carved quite out of the rock. And it's really interesting to see, because it looks like all of a sudden the people building these Moai just abandoned them and left this Moai factory. The Moai like moving along. Some are down down a ways behind me, like they're going out to go to their places. And they're all abandoned here. And it goes to kind of the history of this island, or what's been explained and what happened, is that it was pretty quickly that they gave up the Moai religion, or the Moai sort of belief that these were the sort of spiritual beings that sort of organized their society. They gave that up very quickly. Reason being, they were faced with many challenges. Challenges from Europeans coming here, introducing some diseases, albeit some of those challenges came later, 100 years after that first introduction, but it did start to create challenges and pressure. But there was also further pressure with the currents. There was an El Nino cycle that changed the currents here, the weather here, that caused problems with food, and some political challenges as well. And sort of all of that coming together created this situation where they were like, well, look, we don't believe in these gods anymore. They haven't been helping us. We're suffering problems. And they switched to that Birdman cult that I explained earlier, where they were sort of the society was organized around the Birdman, the person who could make it to that island and back and become the sort of political leader for the next year. And so they abandoned the Moai very quickly, as you can see here at this like abandoned Moai factory. They were just pulling them out of the walls. They were chiseling them out, and then they just left them all of a sudden. And so it's very interesting being here. You can see this sort of like quick societal change like happen like that. And they moved to a different societal structure. And it's very interesting to see what's left of it still here on Easter Island. One of the most interesting things is this carving right behind me here. And so this is a carving, you can see it, of a European sailboat done by the Rapa Nui. So they would have at some point seen those sailboats come and would have been like, what is that? You know, could probably barely comprehend a sailboat. You can see off in the distance that you can see it right here. And so one of the carvers working on this particular Moai here in the quarry drew this ship. And you can see the bottom of the boat, the three masts, the sails. So in their version, they tried to draw what it is. And, you know, they couldn't take a picture, so they had to draw it out on the rock. Coincidentally, that photograph times up with kind of when this place was abandoned. This was one of the ones they would have been working on. But it's, you know, it's hard to say if that was the first boat that came or a later boat that came. Several came. So, you know, we don't know the history exactly, but definitely that first contact and within that period was when a lot of things changed on this island, and when the Moai were given up and no longer built, no longer believed as reliable gods, and they would switch to that Birdman tradition.